past few years of my YouTube career, I have taken a peek at several of, in my opinion, the worst games on Steam, and promptly made a series about my adventures in these games. And thusly, having 10 games, it means I can make a top 10 list, where I would decide the best and the worst of these terrible games that I have found on Steam. So join me as I, Maxusthebeast, count down my top 10 worst games on Steam based on the series. With that being said, let's get into it. Starting off our list, we have Cubebot, a puzzle game based on the complexity of simplicity, or so it states. Cubebot is all about matching two cubes with their corresponding colored squares. It's a very basic game, but it makes you think. Now, I'm not the biggest puzzle fan. I'm not really that into the puzzle genre, but I can appreciate a good puzzle game when I see one. And while initially recording this video, I didn't think I was going to enjoy the game. Cubebot proved to be a special surprise for me, as it turned out to be actually a solid game. So is it the worst game on Steam? Obviously no. Did it deserve to be even in this series? No. Cubebot is genuinely a good game, and I would recommend anybody who is interested in puzzle games, or just wants something to waste time and think about, I'd recommend anybody who's interested in that sort of thing taking a go at Cubebot, for it is genuinely a good game. By far the most controversial video on my channel at the moment, being Epic Battle Simulator 2. I have no clue why I couldn't say that 2 seconds ago. For some reason, this turned out to be a cult classic, and looking back at it, it's not terrible. However, I'm going to do a quick branch off because we're here on this game. When I'm making this series, I'm not saying that this is the worst game on Steam. I'm just looking at games that I think will be bad and playing them. It's sort of like a gameplay / review. I could be wrong, and they could turn out amazing like Cubebot, or they will turn out disappointing like this. It's not the worst game I've ever played, but with pay-to-win mechanics and some weird balance, as well as very ugly UI, very similar to that of a mobile game, because that's what this is. This is an iOS to PC port, essentially trying to take hype away from tabs and get a cheap buck. Now that tabs is actually available to be played on Steam, there's no reason to stick around with this unless you just want a free alternative that isn't terrible, but isn't that good either. If you have the money, purchase tabs. Don't waste your time with this, because tabs is an infinitely better game than this will ever be. However, for what it is a halfway decent game. Again, I stumbled upon a cult classic by freak accident. Reading the comments on this video is funny. Let's take a peek at a couple, shall we? Ooh, that's nasty. Look at that like to dislike ratio. But hey, ain't that bad actually. Don't be that harsh on a probably small company or group of dudes making games. What the frick? I'm actually going to stick by my response with this one. I know the last time I've read comments and did this sort of thing, it didn't go so well, but I'm not trying to be mean here. I actually have a point this time. But we have... Sorry, I had a stroke. Stroke. Okay. That game is good. The game isn't really that bad, but is actually, dare I say, good? This game is pretty good. There are a lot more hardware rip-offs tabs, but for people who don't have money on their computer, it's available on mobile, this is a good game for them. If it doesn't have a physics engine. I didn't realize that I was stumbling into cult classic, or this is a game that a lot of kids like. Because it's a game on the App Store. Not many kids are going to be picking up Tabs, because Tabs is actually kind of expensive. But this game came out before Tabs. It's just trying to get on the hype. Whatever. Not the worst, but not the best. Moving on. Red Crucible Firestorm, a game I actually used to have some decent memories with. My recording software didn't do this game justice when I first made this video, with it being really laggy, and I don't know if this was just me not messing around with settings, or if this was just the quality the video was uploaded with, or this is just generally how bad this game looked. But the graphics aren't nearly as good as I remember them being. But then again, I started playing this game on my old Mac laptop, so what can you really say about that? It's another solid game, but not really the greatest. There's a lot of things that don't really work. Textures look really rough. Did you see that reload animation for the AK there a second ago? There was no real animation. You just kind of moved your hands around. It had a lot of pay-to-win mechanics as well, having to purchase better weapons with real-world money. Or rather, purchasing coins with real-world money and then using the coins in-game currency to purchase the weapons. So by that way, you can just pay for whatever and then spawn in with guns that will completely outrank your opposition and just dominate. But unfortunately or fortunately, depending on how you want to look at this, the game is actually no longer available to play on Steam. It's been removed from the Steam store entirely. So there's no way to actually play this game through Steam. Now, I don't know if... I remember playing this game originally. I played Red Crucible 2 from the App Store on the Mac. I don't know if this is on the App Store still, or just like on Steam if it's been removed from there as well. But the game features some mediocre shooting mechanics and a decent free-to-play Battlefield experience, if that's what you're interested in. But there are a lot of like Bethesda-esque glitches, like ragdolls, insane ragdolls like that. And again, all the textures look stupidly rough. I mean, look at the legs. Look at my character's legs. Also, the M16's iron sights are completely busted. That had nothing to do with my graphical settings this time. This is just the way the game's frickin' packaged. And again, no actual reload animations. But overall, the game is halfway decent and kind of sort of functioned as an actual video game. So if you wanted to sit down and play it for a bit, yeah, you'd have to get over the janky textures, sometimes non-functioning shooting mechanics, glitches, and all sorts of things. But you can actually sort of have a decent experience before the game was canceled, obviously. Speaking of bootleg ripoff games, this game is another Fortnite ripoff. Creative Destruction. Oh boy. Another blatant ripoff game, trying to cash in on the popularity of Fortnite. Just like with Epic Battle Simulator 2, this was also a mobile game. And it still looks and functions like one. However, it's one of the better iOS to PC ports I've played, actually having functioning mechanics. However, the graphics still look like toaster. And the UI is incredibly ugly and obtrusive. I mean, half my screen is taken up by my build options. Everything on this map, on this UI, right? All of this is intrusive. And then I have this like weird little hammer thing. I don't even know what that thing is, floating around and following me. That's more clutter. So it's hard enough to see past the frickin' build options, but then having weird gimmicky characters following you, as well as everything else under the sun on screen and in the way, it takes away from your combat experience. Because imagine playing a game like PUBG or Fortnite or Apex and having the UI just like literally basically in your face the entire time, so it's difficult to focus on even shooting. That's essentially this game. It's not terrible, but it's one of those not terrible games. However, it's not that good either. Especially when I can jump in first round actually win. It's not because I'm super good at shooters, it's just because either I'm playing as mobile players or this game's just that easy. Because I'm usually not very good at any sort of Battle Royale game. But again, it's another rip-off game, features similar building mechanics to Fortnite. And another nail in its coffin is the fact that you have no hotkeys. You cannot change keybinds to fit your playstyle. I looked, and I looked, and I looked, but none of that existed. There was no way for me to adequately change my settings around and change my hotkeys to my Fortnite keybinds. Because if I could do that, then perhaps I could play even better. But no, I have to fight against FaZe Tfue with what you're seeing on the right-hand side of the screen. It's messy, it's kind of gross looking, and a lot of the functions either are, again, ripped from Fortnite, and it's kind of meh, or just don't really work properly. Not to mention that the whole game, again, is one of those blatantly obvious, oh, I'm an ex-iOS game. Because everything looks like it's been ported to phone. And it truly deserves the number 6 spot on this list. Whoops, I done goofed. I mean 7. Welcome to Blockade Classic, a game that I actually had a decent time playing, despite the weird resolution glitch that was going on for the majority of my session. This game actually sports some decent shooting mechanics as well as a Minecraft-esque building system. It's not, again, not too terrible, but it's also an early access game where you see glitches like this resolution. I tried it again recently to see if I can change my mind, if it's actually better now. I got hit with this resolution glitch and had no way of fixing it. The reason it fixed itself in the video of it, in the original video in the series eventually, was freak accident. I have no clue what I did, if anything, to fix it. It just seemed to repair itself, even though it never did that again for me. The game is sort of a mix-up of Roblox, Minecraft, and potentially maybe Counter-Strike or Call of Duty, I guess would be a better comparison because this doesn't play like CS at all. Again, it's not terrible. The mechanics themselves work. However, after a while, it gets just as repetitive as Call of Duty, as the player base is dying out, and there are several game-breaking glitches. Resolution isn't really a game-breaking one. However, I have had several times grenades not detonating, even though my ping is fine. I could still shoot people fine, but my grenade just wouldn't go off. Hit registering doesn't work sometimes. As well as the classic Minecraft issue of your builds your blocks not placing where you want them to place. Again, that might not be a glitch, but still very frustrating and takes away from my experience of the game. So again, it's kind of a meh title, deserving of the actual number 6 spot on this list. Empire TV Tycoon. has to be one of the dullest games I think I've ever played. While the whole purpose of it is to build up your TV corporation and get views, get money, and become the most popular TV network out there, it's incredibly boring. There's not much to do other than to make a schedule of shows and reap your rewards. You can watch people at home watching your movies or shows. However, you can't actually watch the show. If they had actual shows you could watch, then perhaps it would be more entertaining. However, there's so little to do other than set up schedules and just watch the money reap in or flow in. There's nothing more to do than that. After you do that, you've seen all there is to see in the game. Yes, you can mess around with what genre of show or movie you want to play and then truly customize your network to emulate what you want. However, even that still isn't enough to save this game from the number 5 spot on this list. Another really dull game on this list, we have Lunch Truck Tycoon, where your main goal is to sell random food and drink to random passersby. This looks like it should be a mobile game, and perhaps it is. However, this somehow got greenlit and was available to actually purchase on Steam. Honestly, there's no quality control anymore. We just get this stuff. Your only goal is to set up a menu, set your prices, and then hope you make money. That's all you do. You can unlock additional food and beverages. But again, most of the gameplay is choosing a spot to park your truck, upgrading your menu, upgrading your advertising, checking your messages for special events found around the map. But the majority of the game is just this. You choose your menu, you click go, and then you wait for people to come by and purchase stuff. And then using the money you get, you can upgrade your sundries or utilities however you see fit. This shouldn't even be classified as a game. More or less just a pastime. If this is your idea of a pastime. It's almost one of those idle games. But usually like idle games, like the clicker games, you actually have to click or tap or do something. With this, it's just sit here, watch money come in, and occasionally change things around. Not to mention, the graphics look like trash. I can guarantee you that not one of these sprites is original to this game. That they've all been ripped from somewhere. The fonts are generic. Comic Sans. They're using Comic Sans for the price change menu. That's normally not that big of a deal, but it looks incredibly lazy to slap Comic Sans and these other generic fonts on everything. It's gross. Just like the freaking snack truck I have. Also, the UI is equally as ugly. The map selection button is the freaking slime you see above the hot dog and coffee. That's supposed to be your map, but that's all that looks like. That's the best you get. This would be a bit more forgivable if this was solely on the App Store and available for free rather than for purchase. Again, the most complex system this game has are the random sales and hot, cold, and whatever else types of food. It also does the Fallout 76 thing where you have to pay to fast travel, so that's cool. They also advertise their own freaking game or company in the game. I know other games have done it. I know. but it still just looks incredibly lazy and like, hey, look at us, we made this piece of crap that you're now wasting your time playing. And look at the way this map looks. It's absolutely atrocious, and I'd put it higher if we didn't have some worse candidates ahead. Let's move on to number 3. What would happen if you attempted to mix Left 4 Dead with Terraria? You get zombie kill time, but that would actually be a pretty solid game if you mix the two. How about you add in incompetent devs and laziness, as well as not proofreading or proof playtesting your game before releasing it for purchase? You get zombie kill time, where you can shoot through the ground to kill things beneath you, where your arm dislocates from your entire body when you reload, where it takes you ages to actually afford a decent weapon, which is honestly actually okay, and where the textures look like something I could slap together. And if you know me, I am not artistically gifted whatsoever. Not to mention that zombies will literally spawn on top of you, making it impossible to successfully counter them. Surfaces that should be surfaces aren't. And even some surfaces you could shoot through. Zombies' AI will track you through surfaces, so instead of trying to hunt you down or do anything unique, they just get underneath you where you can easily cheese them. And then to challenge you the next go round, the game will just spawn like 5 of them on top of you, killing you instantly. The game does have a co-op feature, however, it's no different than the main experience. It's incredibly dull, boring, and atrocious to the eyes. The game also has a track record of crashing for no reason, so just like a lot of these early access garbage games, the game isn't stable. Also, zombies' ragdolls are weird, where they will sometimes end up standing themselves back up again, confusing you and making you think that they're still alive, when they aren't. The maps are also boring to look at, and the backgrounds are generic. This game is truly one of the worst I've played. However, we have 2 more games that top it, and trust me, they're bad. Oh ho ho! Another generic zombie survival game! Welcome to Uncrowded, a ripoff of 7 Days to Die and Unturned, which is a vastly better game, and Unturned is free. In this game, houses have no furniture. They're completely empty. Oh boy. Zombies move like the freaking speed of light, will grapple onto you somehow, will ride you to death. Your arm breaks in half to hold a pistol by the barrel because why not? And every class you can choose, be it cook, police officer, firefighter, whatever, spawns with the same generic kit. A med kit, ammo, and a pistol. Nothing tailored to that class's supposed strengths. This game is supposed to be a survival game where you're also going to be building up bases and farms and watching your food and hydration. You can eat and drink and you can build, however, there's no real reason to. Building, you just can build a house, that's it. There's no furniture, there's no crafting stations like there are in, let's say, 7 Days or Minecraft even. There is a crafting menu, but it's very limited. Not to mention you can also find half the stuff you can make already available for pickup somewhere in the world. Trees look disgusting. Grass looks disgusting. Everything in this game looks gross. Sometimes you can see trees render in the distance. Other times those that are actually closer to you will just pop in your face. Because why not? Signs are one-dimensional. Where that sign saying village, behind it, it's invisible. There's nothing there. It's only visible from that one side. When you pick up wood or kill a zombie, another piece of wood or a zombie will spawn in the general vicinity basically the second after the first one's either picked up or is killed. And either they'll run off in some random direction, get stuck on something, or instantly lock on you and you're screwed. There are also vehicles, however, they don't work at all. They move incredibly slowly. If you run into a zombie with it, the zombie will frickin' Incredible Hulk it. It will climb on top of you and kill you. So, and it also has a high chance of yeeting you into oblivion. This game is by far the worst survival game. Or no, sorry, the worst zombie survival game I think I've ever played. And honestly, after the 2015-2016 zombie game Apocalypse, I never thought that those games released at that time frame could be topped. But no, Uncrowded had to exist. And it is definitely nothing to remember other than as an atrocious disaster of a game that should never be touched by anybody. Unless you're me and are recording a series for YouTube. The number one game on this list is, guess what? Day 1 Gary's Incident, where you have quick time events for crafting for some reason, atrocious graphics, poor optimization. I mean, seriously, this time it's not even my recording software's fault that it's laggy. This is just the way it plays. Again, I tried it again recently. Poor quality, incredibly laggy. This is also the only game in the series that actually tried to tell a story. However, it lost its attempt at immersion pretty much immediately. Also, the sound design is freaking weird. Sometimes you barely even hear the enemies sneaking up on top of you. You barely hear your footsteps. But in cutscenes, the audio is unbelievably loud. What the heck? Rest in peace, headphone user. This game tries so hard to be dramatic, but it's really not. It destroys your eardrums at times, and also half the mechanics in it don't really work. The animations, need I say more? And there are also quick time events for some reason. Also, why would you take this... Why would you do that right in front of him? He could have killed you at any moment. You also have a sword for some reason. You for some reason, can get up when he's about to kill you. He takes his sweet time killing you. You get up really slowly. He still doesn't kill you. You somehow have a sword. And when people die, they become force ghosts. This game is confusing. And it doesn't get any better. It also tries its darndest to introduce magic or some weird alternative to magic, some artifacts that do things to ancient temples. The story's hard to follow. But, again, it fails at that miserably. Because the mechanics that you're given to use magic are generic. You can do the same thing in a lot of other games that don't even have magic. Your ability is to just destroy stuff using your weird gauntlet thing that you get at the start of the game. You could do that in Half-Life without even having magic. Just puzzle. Just pick up objects, put explosives in front of things, and shoot them. Kaboom! This is effectively an explosive barrel on your wrist. Not to mention that it doesn't really explain how you're supposed to use the thing, or what it's even good for. Hitboxes don't work. Or I thought I was supposed to be shooting the sun thing, but no, I wasn't. At all. While I don't want a game to outwardly tell me or hold my hand through everything, when I'm just starting out a game and have no clue what's going on, it's helpful to at least give me a clue of what I'm supposed to be doing. Because if that's not given, I'm just going to be confused and not want to continue playing the game. Which is what happened with this game. My gosh. I can say, beyond a shadow of a doubt, no questions asked, that Day 1 Gary's Incident is the worst game on Steam and that I've ever played in my life. I don't think anything that I'll play in the future will ever top this. But there we go. This has been a very painful list to do, because it brings back some repressed memories. But this has been my top 10 worst games on Steam based on my series. I hope you guys enjoyed. Did you agree with my list? And if you are one of those people who went out of their way to comment on my Epic Battle Simulator video, first of all, thank you for stopping by and taking the time out of your day to watch my content. It means a lot. Even if you give me dislikes, hey, you still showed up. And I didn't realize I stumbled upon a cult classic. But hopefully putting it higher up and explaining myself there will help prevent any future controversy with that video. Because I had no clue that it was going to blow up. I had a comment from somebody who said, "Oh, screw you! You are only doing this for money and likes. And views." First of all, with views, I had no clue that this was going to blow up at all. With money, I had to have 1,000 subscribers before I can monetize my videos. So, sorry, you're wrong there too. And likes, you can see by the like to dislike ratio how that turned out. But enough complaining about that one video. Thank you guys again for tuning into this video, and I hope you are enjoying Geekz Week thus far. As always, Maxusthebeast is out.